Okay, we're going to finish this handout that we started, but now this time I'm going to show you calculator steps. So let's go back to this one that we started earlier. Okay, we had a step size of 0.25. We started off at 0, 1, and we had a uh, this equation for our slope. And now, before you listen to my video, you must look at Miss Castro's video and take her notes that she did here. So, as we learned from our IB formula packet, the Euler formula, let me just zoom in. The Euler formula is y sub n plus 1 equals y sub n plus h times this, and this is just a fancy way of writing the derivative dy dx. Okay, so I've been highlighting that in orange, so I'm going to continue highlighting that in orange. And I was highlighting this h in blue. I'm going to continue highlighting that in blue. So, anyways, so we start off with that formula, and then we rewrite it, and you followed what she did. So we're going to continue following what she did on this thing and apply it to this problem here. So just like what we did, like the formula packet says, we start off with y sub n plus 1 equals y sub n plus h, and then I'm just going to write dy. Oh, well, actually, I'm writing it exactly, f of x sub y. Okay, this is how it is from the formula packet. Now, on the calculator, we have to. It wants this to be y sub n. So I'm going to rewrite this as y sub n minus 1, and then and then plus h, and then I'm changing this to dy dx. So if you write it like this to begin with, that's fine. On the IB test, they give you points for at least trying, even if you get it totally wrong. If you write out the formula from the formula packet, they'll give you a point. So we want to get as many points as possible. Okay, so, and then on the calculator, as Ms. Castro said, we need for x, they use u, and for y, they use v. Okay, and so how I'm going to write this is I can rewrite this as this is y, right? So v parentheses n equals v parentheses n minus 1 plus our h value in this example is 0.25, and then dy dx here is this formula. So I'm going to write e to the power of, that's a caret there, parentheses u parentheses n close parentheses, and then plus 1, and then close parentheses. So this and this is in parentheses, and okay. So Now I'm going to type this into my calculator. Okay. So if you have no idea why I wrote this, then you have not watched Ms. Castro's video, and you need to write Ms. Castro's video. Okay, so I've already gone into mode, and I've changed to sequence. And so now I'm going to go to hit y equals, and I've already typed in some of the stuff. So this line here is 0. So as Ms. Castro said, so this value here and this value here, this is my x starting point, this is my y starting point, and we know that the x and y starting point is 0 and 1. So I'm just going to put those in right now before even getting started. That's 0, this is 1. Okay, this here is going to be u parentheses n minus 1 plus, and then we're going to put our step. Our step is 0.25. Okay, and this line right here is the only one that we have to really worry about. The other lines, and this one's always going to be 0. So make sure you've left that as 0, as Ms. Castro said. So now I'm going to write this line right here. Okay. So let's type it like this into our calculator. So we're starting off with, okay, I've got 0 in this line right here. Now let's change. I'm just doing the pink ones first because that's the easiest. So I'm going to change that to 1, enter. So, and I don't know what this W thing is. Maybe we'll learn that a little later. Okay, and then I'm going to go up to this one right here, and I'm going to change the step size to 0.25. Okay. And now you're always going to have v parentheses n minus 1, so I still have that in there. I'm going to delete all this other stuff here because I'm just hitting delete, so I can type that all fresh. Okay, so v parentheses n minus 1. Okay, now we're going to type in this stuff here. So 0.25, and then parentheses e caret parentheses u. So to get u, you do second 7, and that gets me my u. And then parentheses n. So to get the n, I have to hit the xt theta n button. And oh, that should be n minus 1. Minus 1. Close parentheses. Close parentheses. I'm going to arrow forward so I'm not in the power anymore, and plus 1. Okay, so I made a mistake here. Good thing we're doing this together. So this should be u parentheses n minus 1. Okay. Not just n. Okay. And then second graph to get my table. And you're going to see my values here are the same. 1.5, and then this one is 2.071. Okay, so let's do another one. So okay. Okay, let's do example 25. This is from the textbook. And they already gave you the answers, but right now we're going to practice this to see if we can get our calculator steps right. So starting from our formula packet, I'm just going to copy this down exactly like it is from the formula packet. Okay. So, y sub n plus 1 equals y sub n plus h f times f of x sub n comma y sub n. Okay, so like I said, to get credit for partially understanding something, you write this from the formula packet. Now on our calculator, this has to be n. This has to be y sub n minus 1. This needs to be h. And I'm going to rewrite this as y dx, dy dx. Okay? So this right here is going to be my derivative. My step size, they've told you, is 0.1. And my starting value is when x is 1, y is 1. Okay? So, so now I'm going to write this as, so let's before I convert it to v's and u's, I'm going to write this as y sub n equals y sub n minus 1 plus 0.1 times x. I'm going to write a lowercase n minus 1 and a lowercase y minus 1. Okay. I'm going to put the times symbol there. Okay. So, and I'm going to highlight this in orange so you know exactly what this is. This is the formula for the derivative. The derivative is x times y. So here's x times y, and it's the previous x times the previous y, which is why it's the n minus 1. And my step size is 0.1. Okay, so now we have everything we need. So this is going to go in this line right here. Okay. Here is my starting point. We know it's 1 and 1 for the x value and the y value. Okay. Right? 1 and 1. And then, oh gosh, the bell's going to ring. And then this is going to be u times n minus 1 plus 0.1. We know our step size is 0.1. This part here is always going to be u parentheses n minus 1. And then this, now we're going to rewrite this as, I'll just write it up here in case I make a mistake, v parentheses n equals v parentheses n minus 1 plus 0.1 parentheses u parentheses n minus 1 parentheses times symbol v parentheses n minus 1 close parentheses close parentheses. Okay, you might want to hit pause and think about how I just rewrote that. And let's type it into our calculator right now. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the starting point. The pink values 1 and 1. Okay, they're ready to go. I'm going to change the change that to 1, and now go up to here. I'm just going to delete all this stuff here. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, whatever. Delete. Okay. Okay. N minus 1, close parentheses, plus 0.1, open parentheses, u. To get u, I do second 7. I do open parentheses, n minus 1, close parentheses, times v. I do second 8 to get my v, parentheses n minus 1, close parentheses, close parentheses. I believe I have it all in there correctly. And now I get second graph. And I get my values. And if I've done it right, it should match what I've got here on the table from the textbook. And it matches perfectly. So I've typed it in correctly. I pat myself on the back. And so now I've figured it out. And so the whole question is, when x is 2, right? This says when x is 2, what's y going to be? Y equals, when x is 2, I'm going to look here, when x is 2, y is 3.86. So that the whole point of all of this is to figure out the y value at when x is whatever they've asked you for. Okay? I'm going to maybe put another one on there and let the class in. Hold on. Okay, so that's how you do example 25. And I'm just going to show you the rest of the examples. You may want to hit pause. And so this is this one here. Okay, the next one, example 3. Can you make sure they come in quietly? Because otherwise they're not going to know. They're going to come in screaming. Okay, so the next one is example 3. Hit pause. So we know our starting point is 0, 1. So I'm going to put the 0 and the 1 there. We know my step size is 0.2, so we're going to have that here. And then we need to figure out what goes here. So remember that our derivative is this, right? So using this formula, we're going to rewrite our derivative like this. Our step size is 0.2. And with the changing the y's to the v's, it's going to look like this. Okay? And the whole point of this is to figure out what is the y value when x equals 1. So I get my table on my calculator, and we end up with these values here. So this is what I get for planning so late. Okay, here's example number 4. And you should get something like this. And then example number 5. Hit pause to check your work. Okay. Hit pause to check your work. Next page, hit pause to check your work. Hit pause to check your work. After you've done a few of these, you probably already know what you're doing. So you may not need to do all of these. Hit pause to check your work. Hit pause to check your work. Make sure I've done it correctly. Hit pause to check your work. Hit pause to check your work. And that's it. The bell's rung. Time for class.